What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, let's talk about Soulbound reward cards and specifically the unlock cost for these once they do get unlocked. Now, there is a great kind of discussion hub on Discord specifically about this. Clayboyne, set something up in the Discord where people can just go in and chime in. I did read through a little bit of it. Shout out to Ghostly BG who put me on to what was happening there, what was being discussed. So we'll get into that a little bit, but from what I gathered, and please feel free to correct me, the unlock cost for Soulbound cards, at least what people are thinking about proposing, is something relatively higher than what I think many are expecting. Now, to create a baseline for this, we have already, as a community, voted to have the ability to unlock these cards to use on land, right? Not unlocked fully, but just unlocked for land at 2x the burn value. So, and then you can use vouchers for half of that, right? I believe it like a 20% valuation, or 20 cent valuation, which is the same as what we have for Rebellion. So, 2x just to unlock means that we would need to be higher if you wanted to unlock them for, all-purpose general use, whatever it is, or to make them complete NFTs. So in my mind, I was like, oh, okay, 3x, 4x, maybe that's kind of where we could see things going. But now I'm starting to see, and I don't know if people were just kind of joking around, but I was seeing 10x and 20x and how, we really want these cards to be difficult to unlock. We don't want bots to come in and just farm them away. It should really be discouraging for that kind of behavior. And I can understand that argument. Now, here's my perspective. Let's just take a step back. I'm going to give you my perspective on this. And I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me, but I'm just going to lay it out here, and I'm open to hearing your feedback. I actually don't think cards should be a financial or monetary reward the way that they were in past versions of this game, specifically back in 2021 and earlier when, bot farms came in mass and essentially farmed them like crazy. I think that we're creating a play to earn game in which you can earn SPS for every single battle that you play. There's not many other games that offer something like that, right? And not as consistently as Splinterlands has done over the past 5-6 years, right? Since 2018, or five years, I should say. It's been very impressive that they've been able to do that, where you can earn a little bit for every battle that you play, and it doesn't, absolutely destroy the economy. Now, you can look at the economy now and say, well, it has been destroyed. Yes, but that's not necessarily because of the way that it was designed. Well, it was designed that way. So you know what? It has destroyed the economy, but it was mass exploitation across the board, right? The starter cards, all of that stuff that essentially created the problem that we have now. But for the most part, you can still play and earn a little something. Now, it's not going to be a salary, right? It's not going to replace your job the way that many people in 2021 thought it would, and the way that, Axie and even Splinterlands were able to do. But the idea of being able to own your assets and then earn something with them, almost like a yield by playing a game, I still think that is very revolutionary. And so if you're able to earn SPS for every battle you play, as well as in your reward chest, along with potentially packs, right? Although that's another question of something that might be removed. I'm okay with it just being SPS, right? And I know that's a little bit controversial to say. I'm okay with it just being SPS. Now, the reward cards, the way that I view these they are like your progression in the game. The more you play, the more cards you collect and that you're able to play with, right? Each of these cards helps you earn more and be more competitive and have more fun, right? Have a more diverse deck. If you look at it, it's just like these reward cards are so powerful. I mean, they're comparable with pretty much every other set. I use them all the time in a lot of my battles now, especially the Soulbound Summoners. That might have been a mistake, right? But the Martyr cards that came in, some of these legendary cards, it's a fantastic set, right? Just on its own. And to think about the fact that like we're getting these cards for free and we'll continue to get them for free by just playing the game, I think it's awesome. Now, should there be an unlock fee? Should you have the ability to turn them into NFTs? Yes, I still agree with that, right? But my core thesis is that it doesn't need to, right? It doesn't need to. If it was just like this and if it had been this way from the beginning, I think people still would have been happy, right? It's got a Web 2 feel to it, but at the end of the day, it's like you're increasing your collection, and the only way you can do it is by playing the damn game, right? And so I really like that idea. So if we do go with some kind of unlock fee that ends up being borderline absurd of like 10, 20x. And again, that might not even be absurd. I'm just trying to point it out to you guys. It's like, if we do end up going with something that is relatively high in order to discourage any kind of exploitative behavior, I would actually be okay with that, right? Like for me, these cards, I want them to feel super scarce, and maybe we don't get it right with this Soulbound set, but the next Soulbound set, we do, right? Because we printed so many of these at the beginning when bots were still, when bots were still kind of all the rage. Now, keep in mind, we had the bot battle, or the bot ban, I should say, that went live in July, but we had the vote in April. And then, the Soulbound cards started, I believe, at the end of January, early February. So there was like a good 3 to 6 month period where there was still a lot of botting happening, right? Up until the proposal passed, and then even up until the actual implementation of it, right? So with all of that being said, we had a ton that were printed, and that has slowed down dramatically now, making these cards much more scarce technically, but we still just have so many printed across a multitude of different accounts. So how do you stop those other accounts from, exploiting the system and just dumping them on the market? Well, you set a high burn value, which helps the ecosystem. We burn a ton of DEC, we burn a ton of vouchers. All of that value actually goes back to SPS, right? Kind of intrinsically through DEC, and then through a yield, or through a value of staking your SPS through vouchers. So in a way, I don't mind the price being high. Now, for someone like myself, I think there's only like 1 or 2 cards that I've maxed out. It's just common cards at this point, and I would go and want to finish my collection up, but I want these cards to actually have value. If I do have extra cards, like here, Wily Kaioshin, I have 66 extra copies of these. What am I going to be able to do? If there is a demand for them out there, well, then we should go and we should go and it should be something that is higher than X amount of whatever the burn value is. If you get what I'm saying, that way we're not just dumping them on the market for pennies the same way that the Pellicors and the Venari Heatsmiths were. So again, it's not going to be a perfect fit because this specific set was already overprinted in many cases, nor did we have a way for people who started maxing out cards to do anything productive afterwards, except for get more of the same cards. So for example, I have 66 of these Wily Kaioshins, or 65 more than I need. And I'm sure, for a lot of the players in Diamond and Champion, they're looking at a bunch of extra cards at this point. So in the future sets, maybe we find a way in which after it's done, after you've maxed out a card, you can choose maybe to turn it off, right? That'll increase your chances of getting some of the other cards. But again, that's a mechanic that can be built in for the Rebellion reward set. So I don't want to get too far into that. When it comes to where we're at right now, I actually would not be opposed to a much higher, unlock fee in order to help the economy and to deter anybody from just, unlocking a bunch of them and then dumping on the marketplace. I want these cards to have value. And even if it means I don't have a max set and I would have to go and pay for it, if the cards are holding their value, once again, it's all about scarcity, right? So you have to create just small little barriers in order to not have everything just be exploitable. Now, you might look at that and say, well, 20x the burn value, or even 10x the burn value, that's 50 DEC? That's 5 cents, right? That's 5 cents if you think about it. 20 cents would be 10 cents, right? Sorry, 20x would be 10 cents. So it's not like outrageous, right, to think about a common card going for 5 or 10 cents, especially if we want those cards to have value. Now, you can make the argument, well, you're creating like an artificial floor and blah, blah, blah. And yes, we are. And in a way, like, I don't mind doing it for these cards because I only want them to get unlocked if there's going to be demand. If there's no demand, why would people unlock them? Why would they pay the burn fee in order to unlock them just to go and dump them on the market and drive the value down? I don't see the value in that. But that's kind of where my head is at on these Soulbound reward cards. Again, I have no idea when they're going to get unlocked, but it sounds like the discussion is happening now to do a DAO vote in order to force the team's hand, right? So, and I shouldn't say force the team's hand. Like, if anything, we're trying to have these conversations while the team is focused on, a bunch of other high priority things like land and rebellion. And, if we can come to a consensus as a community, it's not that we're forcing the team's hand, but I would say that Matt might actually appreciate the fact that we're thinking through these things and providing, having a solid discussion as a community and then bringing it to the team to say, here's how the community feels. Implement it, please. And unless there's some massive thing that would, upset the entire ecosystem, that Matt would say no. And I'm sure he'd only do that if he had a good reason. We would be able to get, whatever the consensus of the community was. So if you're interested in being part of that conversation, I would highly recommend going to the Discord channel for that. Again, it's going to be under the DAO discussions, and there's a bunch of different discussions happening. But if you want to have your voice heard, this is the time, right? And this is equal participation from everybody, right? So this is the time in which it is somewhat of a democracy because everybody's voice counts. When it comes to the actual voting, then it's going to be stake weighted. But until then, if you have a great idea, go and put it out there. Go lobby for your idea, whether it's 5x, 10x, free, whatever you want it to be, and have that discussion with Clay and the rest of the group that is talking about it. Now, before a proposal comes in, when you're just like, oh, what the hell? I don't like this proposal. Well, here is your chance. Here is your opportunity. Here is your warning where I am telling you, if you want to be part of the conversations, go and talk to them right now. Go be part of that. So that is all I have for you guys in this video. I will catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.